Merkel Media.
He put it in park, threw open the driver's door, ran out the side of the car, across the front of it, and jumped right off the side of the bridge in front of me.
The only people that really pulled over were truckers.
He said, "We're going Haji," and he didn't slow down. He went across the median onto the oncoming traffic, but where they could see him coming, they just got out of the way.
I noticed this plane was really low. It went right in front of us, hit the fence, and it spun around. 30 seconds more, he could have hit us.
And I went around that truck, and a guy stepped out from behind the truck and threw a piece of wood, and it shot through my window just like a spear and stuck in the back of the cab of my truck.
That's probably one of the stranger things I've
Welcome to Hammer Lane Legends. I am Brian Merkel.
I'm Brian Shipper.
And I'm Mike Drake.
If you have a crazy and wild story you would like to share with us from the road, or if you have experiences you'd like to share with us from the road, like what we're going to hear today, talking with Emilio, we want you to go ahead and contact us at hllpodcast@protonmail.com. That's hllpodcast@protonmail.com. Or go to the hammerlanelegends.com webpage. Hit the contact section, get a hold of us that way. Either way works for us. We don't care. Just get a hold of us because we want to have a conversation with you. We love doing this. We love talking to truck drivers. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear your stories. Shipper, with all that being said, tell them about Buy Me a Coffee.
Keep us fueled, keep us caffeinated at buymeacoffee.com/hammerlane virtual tip jar. If you like what we're doing and you feel like you want to contribute, follow simple prompts. We appreciate it.
Fantastic, Shipper. Thank you, sir,
for
bringing that.
Rolled it right off.
Rolled it right off, and we're right in. And we're going to bring this thing right into a fruition. Today, we're talking to Emilio. Emilio, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. By yourself?
We're doing all right. We're doing well. Thanks so much for coming on and having a conversation.
Well, thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all ours. It really is. So, Emilio, do us, if you would, tell us kind of like how you got into the trucking business, how you got into this crazy world that we call trucking, because it's not a 9-to-5er. It's not, it's a different lifestyle. So how did you get into this?
Well, my grandpa was a truck driver his whole life, and my uncles and stuff. So I kind of grew up like being around trucks. I started shifting gears, man, when I was like at least 9 or 10 years old. So with my uncles and my dad and stuff. And then I came of age that I decided to want to be my career, so I started at I think 19 years old. I started driving, and I first started hauling agriculture, like tomatoes and stuff like that, and that's where I got in. There was at the time there was a guy, Mike Lowry's Trucking. He would help you get your license if you worked for him the whole season. So that's how I started doing that, and it's been history ever since, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long run.
How long have you been driving?
I'll be 32 years in December 14th, I believe.
Wow, that's freaking awesome.
32 years.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a long time.
It is a long time.
Have you been on the West Coast the whole time?
Yeah, I've been on the West Coast the whole time, yeah.
Okay. So, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I'm saying I'm a local driver. Okay.
So you do like in the LTL business, what Yellow Freight used to be, or SD?
No, I've never done that. I started my career just horticulture, like tomatoes and peaches, stuff like that. And then the gravel business, like bottom dumps and transfers and dumps. And I did that. Then I started hauling feed for many years. And then I went back to the gravel business now. So I'm hauling gravel, and I've been an end dump now for a company, a great company I work for now. So,
boy, that's fantastic. Dude.
Yeah, all gravel than tomatoes. Gravel doesn't.
Yeah, it is. Man. That's ours. The tomatoes is it's long hours on that.
Oh yeah, I can imagine when. You're not trying to make the sauce while you're driving. So
yeah.
But yeah, I can imagine that's got to be doing the agriculture like that. I mean, it's long days, isn't it?
They're long days. Yeah, we were working back in the day when we could run, extra hours, and when it was paper log, when it was easier to work extra hours. You can't do that anymore now.
Yes,
but,
yes,
extra little hidden log books that you would throw behind the seat or something, and get the extra hours in. But
Yes, sir.
everything's electric now. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm getting too old for that too. I can't do that anymore. My body can't do that anyways either.
Boy, do we
I
hear
would
that.
work like 17, 18, 20-hour days sometimes.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. But you're young, and you think you're invisible.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Do they have? I'm curious about this. Do they have different? Are there different rules for the agricultural industry as far as hours of service? That you can drive because of the way it is. Like when it's harvest time, it's an all day thing. I'm kind of curious. Is there?
It's 16 on duty, and I believe it's 14 driving. Or
Wow.
no, 16 on duty, and I think it's. Don't quote me. I think it might be 12 driving time. Yeah.
That's what I was curious because I know the days can get really long. Especially.
I haven't done that on horticulture in a long time, but I know it was more than just you could get away with more hours.
That's what I thought. That's what I'd heard. Is that, and I wasn't sure. I've never really talked to anybody that I can remember doing the agricultural end of things, and it's a different. Every aspect of the trucking industry has its own kind of uniqueness.
Oh yeah.
So doing the agricultural part of it is it's got its own rules, laws, and things like that they go by.
Everything's perishable too.
Yeah.
So it's
and then you work, and your time off, you just get 8 hours off. So 8 hours, you got to be back on the truck again.
Wow.
So you finish your whatever shift you have, 14 hours, 15 hours, whatever. Then you park the truck. You have 8 hours to climb back on it. That's what we do. So you'll be working all the time. You lose track of what day it is and what time it is and everything else, man.
That's definitely a young man's game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, boy, you hit certain ages and man, it's like those days are over. It wears you out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. It tears you up. I got a bad back now, bad knees, and it just wears you out, man. Too many years of bouncing around in that truck. And the trucks are more comfortable now, but back in the day, they were a little rougher.
Yes, they were.
And like I hear some of these young drivers nowadays that they're complaining they have an AC truck and nice, comfortable truck, and they always complaining that, oh, it's rough. I go, man, you don't know what rough is, man. Try that 30 years ago. The trucks were nothing like what you're driving nowadays. So
yes, sir.
I want to hear it, man. You guys got it.
No AC.
Yeah.
No AC, no power steering, no air ride in your cab or your seat. Nothing, man. You're sitting like on a, like a wooden chair or something. It's not wooden, but no cushion, not that much cushion. Always wore it out.
Yep.
And like, man, you guys got it made, man. You guys wouldn't last not even a day back in my day.
No. And nowadays, everything is coming out automatic. So.
Yeah, I still refuse to drive an automatic.
It's so weird.
I tried it once. It wasn't for me, man. I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's like I don't know what to do with my right hand, man.
It's
just
weird.
I can't do it. It just doesn't feel right.
I'm shifting. It's like
it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel. And then they're not as powerful either, man. They're not that strong. And
the shifting is like it. You don't have control over it. Like you're used to being able to wind it out if you need to or whatever. And now it just shifts and it keeps the RPMs really low.
Yeah, that's what I told my wife. She was telling me she'll go like if I'm gonna go to a truck wash my truck or whatever, I'll take her with me. And I told her, like you have to. There's something like you feel. Like you have to be in control of the gears, like your gear you're going to be in it. Like I want to be in control of the truck. When I shift, when I downshift, I don't want the computer or whatever is shifting for me, doing it for me. I don't like that. You feel like I'm not. I feel like something's missing. Well, something obviously is missing the gears, but you feel like you have no control of the truck at all.
That's it. You don't have control. It's telling you when it's going to shift, and it's.
Oh yeah. And then you're throwing that right hand up in blank air right there, trying to find the gears. There's nothing there. It just feels weird. I couldn't handle it, so I refuse. I refuse to drive one of those trucks, man. Like
I totally get it.
It takes
I can't do it.
And not having a shifter there.
Does.
Or my biggest thing when we first got in the automatics was backing under a trailer. You let it get underneath there, and then you push in the clutch to take away the power.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't do that in an automatic. You get slammed against the trailer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's man. I know. I know. It's just it's weird. I don't know. It just for me, it just feels so weird. It's like you feel like I'm learning how to drive a truck again. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it just doesn't feel normal. Doesn't
Yeah.
feel natural to me.
Totally
You know,
agree. And,
like I said, I've been shifting gears since I was like 9 years old with my dad and stuff. So like,
Yeah.
you know, that's second nature to me. So I couldn't do the automatic ones.
yeah, it's not easy. It's a strange world.
The
It
drive
is.
long now, I get irritated when I do have to shift. I'm like, I pushed a button. Oh, now I got to go through 10 gears.
The only time that I really do it's like I'm happy to have the automatic is when I get stuck in an accident scene or traffic where you're bumper to bumper and you don't have to clutch.
Yeah.
Because after a while, your legs, at the age we're at, your knees are starting to go. Like you said, your knees are going, your back is going, everything. So it is kind of nice when you're stuck in traffic, is having the automatic, because all you're doing is just hitting the brake.
Yeah.
But most of the time,
at our age with the manual, you're like, you push the clutch in. How many more times before the knee just pops?
Yeah, I know.
How many more licks are there to a Tootsie-Roll Tootsie Pop? You know?
Yeah.
Your hand on your knee to push the clutch down.
Oh yeah. Be honest with you, I had that happen. I blew my knee out driving years ago. Years ago, I was like 2 years into the industry, and I blew my knee out, and it was my clutch knee, and my first delivery of the day was down below Reading, and I was a pool table place, and my knee popped, and I tore the meniscus, and the rest of the day I spent the whole day pushing with my hand on my leg to shift gears
or you learn to drive 1 foot.
I literally finished out my day. It was a 12-hour day, and I finished it out shifting gears.
So I guess you weren't double clutching. You're just floating.
I was just floating as much as I could. But it's funny because then your kids look at you. Your kids are like, "You're badass, Dad." I'm like, "Yeah, you damn straight I am." I spent a whole day with that, and then that was my exciting story. So back to Emilio.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, it's just that the industry has changed a lot over the years. I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes in 32 years you've been doing this.
Oh yeah, a lot of changes. It's just every day that you have these pencil pushers, man, just making new rules. That guys this is what gets me. Guys that never been in a truck in their life, doesn't even know nothing about a truck, and they're writing rules trying to teach me how to drive a truck.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, when they didn't even know how to turn a damn truck on.
Especially on the West Coast, you guys are subject to a lot more of the regulations being in California.
Oh yeah, California is getting really, really bad with that. Everything, every time you turn around, there's a new rule, new law that you can't do this, you can't do that. It's just making it harder and harder.
Yeah.
The good thing, I'm getting closer and closer to retirement, so I'll let you guys handle that. I'm out of it, man.
Amen, brother, because that's where we're heading.
I can't wait for that day, man.
Yes,
I still miss truck driving, but man, it's just.
I never heard people talk more about retirement than truckers.
Yeah.
We're counting down the days,
especially when you've been doing it for a while. It's like
I do have 2 expensive daughters, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna have me working until I'm 150 years old. Probably, they're very expensive.
I heard that.
Yeah.
When grandkids come along, my wife has made sure that I'm going to continue to work.
Yeah.
Our kids grown up and out of the house, and now we have grandkids. So yeah, it's every Christmas. It's like, how much are you buying?
It's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, everything's so expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah.
California, everything's so expensive out here.
Oh my word!
And everything goes up. The company I work for now, they're pretty good at.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me decent raises, and I'm happy there where I'm at, and I couldn't be any happier. I'm thinking I'm in a good spot now. I wish I would have been at this place years ago, and I would have been all happy. But I'm happy with all the jobs. I'm grateful for all the jobs I had. I think I had this is my 3rd job, I think, in 32 years.
No kidding. That's great, dude.
Good.
So,
that is awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's a good company, and the boss is real quiet, so he stays to himself.
And sometimes, if we didn't walk through some of the things that we do walk through, with some of the companies that we've been with, we wouldn't appreciate the ones that we're at now. We'd be
exactly.
You listen to some of the young guys coming in, and they're working the same place you are, and you're like you're happier than anything because the job you have, and these guys complaining and moaning and groaning about it because it doesn't do this and they do that. Boy, you should have been where I was. When I was your age, 30 years ago. Yeah,
exactly.
You should be then, and then you'd have something to complain about.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And there's a lot of those guys that complain all the time, man. Like they have no idea. Like I wish they could just have a little glimpse of what we went through. And we didn't. I remember complaining when I was younger. I don't think I complained. I don't remember. Maybe I did, but I don't remember it, complaining about. And like I said, I look about it now, and like you said, like Shipper said, man, no AC, no power steering, nothing in these trucks, man. And we're happy
listening to you. They didn't.
Yeah. That's what he said. Probably like working nights because I've been a night driver for at least 25 years of my career. So maybe that's why I like working nights. You roll down those windows down. There was not electric windows. You had to crank those buttons down.
Sure.
And it's cool at night. You don't have to have the heat because of AC in the trucks.
Yep.
So you have one of those fans. You remember those stainless steel fans? You turn them on and it blows hot air at you.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, that was our AC back then. Yeah. Those were our AC back then. You had two fans. I remember they had two of them, and I would put both of them facing my direction. Yeah, and that's what you have all day long. That's what you're blowing hot air at you.
Yep. That's it. It's things have gotten so much better. The ACs and all the things that we have, all the modern conveniences that are in these new trucks. It is great. I mean, it's compared to what we had.
Well, like he said, you take one of those old school from the 70s, tractors and take it up to the Votech there, for them driving truck.
Yeah.
They look at that. No, I'm done. I'm gonna learn computers.
This is what I gotta drive.
Why are there two stick shifts on the floor?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bring them up a duplex or a triplex. That'll blow them right off the wall.
And believe it, I drove in those transmissions before, the Browning transmissions, the two shifters. I have a friend that has an old school truck like that, and I helped them out in the summertime a little bit. It's a water truck, and it had the Browning transmission with the two shifters on it. So I learned how to drive those. That was pretty hard. I don't know, the guys back in the day, they had to do that all the time. I don't know, man. That's especially going uphill, downhill. You got to let go of your steering wheel to shift gears. I don't know. Yeah. But
steering wheel.
Dude, yeah. Oh yeah.
That's really cool, man. That is.
Oh yeah. Cool. I remember one time I told a story. One time I was hauling tomatoes, and I always had a buddy of mine. We always rolled together. We would get all the loads out in the field sometimes, and we were working nights. And like I said, they sent us to this field. And back then we didn't have GPS. We didn't even have cell phones, so it was all a paper. Someone drew out how to get to the field or whatever. There's a branch laying down in the corner right there. Take a right there. Then you'll see a aluminum can, a beat up can on the right hand side. You take a left there, something like that. So we went in this field to pick up you had to take a set of doubles, empties in there, and then you pick up the loaded trailers out. And he was ahead of me. We went in the field, and it's all dusty at night. And we went in there just fine, and then we hooked up our trailers at night. And we were heading out. When you head out, there was the inside the fields, but there was like two fields that split off like a wide, like sort of like a little wide angle like this. Mm-hmm. So the correct way out of there was go to the left, and you make it back to the main road, and you go deliver to the cannery. So I was behind him in the field. He was kicking all that dust up at night. And it was like fog. I couldn't see anything.
Right.
And I knew in my mind I had to take that little left turn somewhere, because if you take that right turn, it's a dead end. You can't back up doubles full of tomatoes. And my luck, guess what I took? I took that right turn, man, because all that dust in it, and I made it to a canal. Uh-huh. My right hand side was a cornfield. My left hand side was more tomatoes.
Wow.
And I can't back up loaded doubles. And you could back up a little bit, but not, so much. So I was stuck. And my boss at the time, he was a good boss, but he was not the guy that, you would have had an earful for that mistake like that.
Right.
So I had to make it out of there. And I always believe that there's always a way out. There's always a way out somewhere in life and anything. There's always a way out. You all have to find a way out, because the truck's not going to rot there for the rest of his life. It has to come out some one way or another.
Yes,
and
sir.
if someone else could do it, I'm gonna do it. So I hooked my trailer up, dropped my trailers, and my truck bobtail, and I couldn't go on the left side of the field because there's tomatoes fields, and there was a little irrigation dish, so I couldn't take that. So that cornfield looked pretty nice. So I walked in there and make sure the ground was nice and hard, which it was. So I drove my truck bobtail right through the cornfield.
Uh-huh.
Like, you could see the corn was like 6 feet tall, and I'm just making my own little path through it. And I made it to the other side, and I made it to the side so I could go all the way around. So I came back, hooked up my trailers, hooked it up, went straight to the cornfield again. Knocking corns left and right and underneath my truck, and everything. Made it out there, got out of there, left to the counter. The next morning, my boss, we had a wide area, company radios where everybody could hear you talking. My boss was mad. He's like, "Hey man, does somebody drive a truck through that cornfield like that? The customer or the farmer is mad that somebody drew a truck through there." And no. And me and my friends, when we made it out of there, we took all the leaves and corns off the truck, washed it, make sure it was good, and then drove it and just get it dusty again. I go, no, we don't know who it was. It was me, but it was me. I passed through that, goes right through the cornfield, man. And that's when you're young, you're young, you're not really familiar with everything. So I was just learning, but
Right.
man, that was one of it's funny to me now, but back then, man, I was like, oh man, he's going to find out. And he never found out until you probably see this and you'll probably know now. But that was like 30 years ago. He's still around. He's still in business. So, I'm good friends with his sons. And they run the company now for them. But they'll know now it was me 30 years later. It was me that did that. But that was one of the little crazy experience, that you live and learn, and now I know that not to do that. But that was pretty fun though. Nowadays, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think it happens to every truck driver. For you, as a cornfield. For most of us, an alley or a one-way road that we can't back up. And
it happens a lot.
Yeah, low bridge.
Yeah, that's what happens a lot. So I did that tomato stuff I worked for him for like 5 seasons. The good thing that company, he would the tomatoes we used to work out, he used to send us maybe 2 or 3 hours a different town, and he will stay there for the whole season, and he'll rent a motel for you. So it'll be 2 drivers per motel, and motel room, and you were in there a couple hours a day, and then you had to get up again. So you had a dispatcher that will wake you up on site there. They'll call you your room and wake you up and stop going again. And they had a bar there. And of course, you all, you after your shift, go to the bar.
Right.
And we were at the bar, and my phone rang. I mean, the phone in the room rang, and my buddy, he went to sleep, and he calls me up. He goes to the bar. He goes, "Hey man, dispatcher's on the phone calling you." So I can pick up the phone. Look, what time was it? I don't even know what time it was. He goes, "Hey man, your 8 hours are up." So I stumbling into the office. The dispatcher looks at me. He goes, "Hey, you had too much to drink." I go, "Yeah, but I'm good." He goes, "No, you're not. Go back to your room, man." And from then on, he will make sure you're in your room at a certain time, like a curfew. We couldn't let it out. It's like, because you're young. I wasn't even old enough to drink. I was still like 18 or 20 years old. and I was still getting drunk at the bars. Like bars, they don't care. It was an on-site bar they had there.
Dude, if you're old enough to drive a truck, you're old enough to drink a beer.
Oh yeah, but back then, like I said, life was a lot easier back then, and you could get away with a lot of things that you can't nowadays. I'm pretty sure I probably jumped in a truck more in the tipsy side than sober, but that was back in the day. I wouldn't recommend that. I would never do that again. But life was a little bit easier back then, and it was fun, driving with your friends, man. It was a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my funny years when I was younger. But then I did that for a couple of years, and then I went to work hauling feed.
Okay.
Hauling feed for another company. I worked for 16 years for this company, or maybe a little bit longer, hauling feed to milk dairies, and it was night shift, and I had a good time doing that here. That's where I have a creepy story about that happened to me at that particular dairy. I would go to these dairies, and I've been to this dairy maybe 1,000 times before. And like I said, I was a night driver, and so I used to drive a transfer. You know, you familiar with the transfer trucks?
No, tell us.
Transfer trucks is the ones that that is, you know, it has that you transfer one box into the other box. You back up, you connect your trailer, and you back up your truck. You empty out your first truck, your first box in your truck, and then you back up to your second trailer, and then and there's some little tracks, little wheels, and then there's hooks on that holds that trailer box on your back trailer. So you release that, and then that box rolls into your other box.
Oh, okay, like almost like a walking floor.
Walking floor, yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. They're not walking floors. This is they're I don't know what
or the roller.
I don't know what you guys call them. They're just you probably see them. They usually haul like gravel and stuff with them. And rock.
They have like a conveyor belt underneath the trailer.
No, it's little tracks, like it's steel tracks, and then your box on the rear trailer has little wheels and it has a little battery, so it rolls on the wheels and it goes into the other box, and then you go back and dump that. It's called a transfer truck. I don't know if you guys familiar.
Yeah, I've never heard that. That's interesting.
Yeah, transfer. Well, I don't know, maybe you guys call them. They're called transfer trucks.
Okay.
Usually like to haul like gravel or dirt and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I used to drive when I drove for those for many years. So in order to transfer those boxes, you dump your first box, come back, and then you back up to your second trailer and you just on the tracks and you roll that second box inside.
Okay.
And the floor has to be leveled, or else the tracks will not be even and it won't roll correctly, or it'll fall off the tracks.
Okay.
So there was only in this dairy, there was only one plain spot that I could dump, and it was the only plain spot I could dump. And these dairies are dark. They're dark. There's no lights or nothing out there. They're just completely dark. This is the lights on your truck. So there was this old tree that on my left hand side. So that was my mark. I knew, okay, well, as long as I park right there, the floor is level. Like I said, I've done it 1,000 times before at night. So it was like around 3 a.m. I roll up and I noticed something I didn't notice before. I noticed the milk barn, the lights were on where the milker milks the cows. And I knew they had a day milker, but some dairies have 2 milkers at night and a day. But that particular dairy only had a day milker. So that was kind of odd, but I didn't think nothing of it. And so I get off to go and connect my trailers, take the hoses off and disconnect it. So you're down on your knees trying to do that. And I heard these footsteps coming towards me in the gravel there. And it was this older gentleman. And I didn't see his face or anything, but I heard his voice, and he was right to me. He goes, "Oh, hi." He spoke to me in Spanish. He goes, "Hey, young man, how's your night going?" Or whatever, small talk. And I was busy. So I didn't want to spend too much time talking to him. So I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Good. How about yourself?" He goes, "Oh, okay, he's good." And you could tell he wanted to talk too much, but I didn't have time for that. And I'm like, he's told me, "Oh, 2 weeks ago, they found this guy dead right here, leaning on the tree." I guess he had chest pains and he sat down next to the tree and he died of a heart attack.
Wow.
And I'm like, "Oh, that's too bad, man." But I didn't think nothing of it. So I said, "That's too bad." So I just wanted to dump my load. So I dumped my load, did my thing, and then he walks away and that was it, Right. Oh, he told me he was the milker and that he was milking the cows at night and he was just going to take his lunch break, that he lived on the property. I'm like, okay, so he left. So I dumped my load, got my load back, and I left. So a week later, I go back to that same dairy a little bit earlier, like around like 10 o'clock at night. And I get there, and then I came across the young man that I knew that was the day milker. He was walking around there with his dog or something. And then he said hi to me, and I told him, "Hey, man, I heard I was talking to the night milker. He was telling me that somebody passed away on this tree right here." And he says, no, that didn't happen. And I said, "Well," he said, "like 2 weeks ago, somebody died here. There was the night milker." He goes, "I'm the only milker in this dairy, and I'm a day milker. There's no night milkers." I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of odd." And then he had this blank look in his face, like he was thinking of something. And then he tells me, "Well," he goes, "something just dawned on me. I go, what's up? He goes, well, I haven't been here that many years, but the story here goes that people have talked about that 20 years ago, there was a night milker, an older gentleman, that did have a heart attack on this tree, and they found him in the morning. And he was taking his lunch break, and he felt chest pains, sat on the tree, died there, and they found him in the morning.
Wow.
He goes, but that was not 2 weeks ago. That was 20 years ago. So
strange.
Wow.
So who did I talk to that night?
Exactly.
I don't know. And like I said, I've been out to that dairy 1,000 times before, and I knew kind of pretty much everybody that worked there.
Right.
And I never seen that man before, and I knew there was only one milker, and he was a young guy during the day.
Right.
And I knew there was no milk. But that particular night, the milk dairy was open, the light on where they milked the cows, and that was the story he told me.
Pickup
yeah, yeah, and he told me that old man told me that. So I don't know if it was his ghost 20 years later, still working,
Just kind of hanging around,
and that was one of the weirdest things, man. Then since then, I'll try to avoid going to that dairy at night. I'll try to make it my first load of the day, just in the afternoon, and get out of there, man. Like, I was just too creepy for me, and
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. Then one of my buddies went to that same dairy, and he said that there was an old barn back there where they keep the food for the cows and stuff, but there's no front door, in that, the roll doors, the barn doors, it was missing. It was an old barn.
Okay.
So he went in there with his high beams on, and he saw this little girl walk from inside the barn, like from one side to the other side, and through the inside of the barn, wearing a yellow dress. She's like maybe like 8 or 9 years old. Yellow dress. It's like you couldn't see her face. And he had the high beams on her, and he kind of thought, well, probably she's out here with her dad. He's probably working late at night or whatever. And he asked around, and he had his high beams out there waiting for that little girl and her dad to come out. They never came out. So he went there with a flashlight or whatever. There was nobody out there. Mm-hmm. And they asked before if in the property they lived there, if any families that had little kids. And they're like, no kids live there. There's only like 4 men that work there. There was no kids there. And he saw that little girl out there. He couldn't explain it either. Like, it was that same dairy that I saw that man at. That old man at.
Same dairy.
Yeah, same dairy.
And, one of the things I'm sitting here thinking, as you're telling this story about this old milker, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I want to be able to retire and not wind up at repeating the rest of my life. All of eternity, I'm just sitting here at Pitt, Ohio.
In 50 years, Brian's be walking across the parking lot.
Pitt. It's like, I don't want that to be my life. My eternity.
Oh man, I within that happened like to me like 15, 16 years ago, and I still think about it all the time.
Oh, I bet.
And I'm like, poor man. His life is just he's repeating the same cycle over and over and over. How many times have you repeated that?
Yeah, he's interacting with whoever shows up, who's ever there. Wow.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe, and I do think about it a lot, and I have prayed for him too. To see he could find peace and go rest. But I still think about it a lot. It's just like, poor guy, man. He's just working hard, and he died of a heart attack, and he's just repeating the same cycle. Yeah. Who knows how many times.
Yeah, and he's walking around freaking out the truck drivers.
Yeah, it's scary. Definitely scared me.
Yeah, really.
But there was nothing at the time. There was nothing scary about him.
Right.
And like a week later, when I found out, I was scared. But
that's it.
Scared. And the thing that I feel kind of bad too, because I felt like he wanted to talk. Like he was maybe he needed somebody to talk to or something. And I kind of like cut him short a little bit because I was in a hurry. I wanted to get my job done.
You were in a hurry. You were young.
Yeah, I was young. I didn't want to. I was young. I didn't want to talk to an old guy. You know what I mean? Right. At that time, so I just wanted to do my thing. Now I feel bad. Man. I go, maybe he's like lonely. Needed somebody to talk to, man. Like or say something. And he was not a threat. It wasn't. I didn't feel threatened or nothing like that. And I go, maybe he just needed it. Somebody to talk to, man. And I kind of feel bad that I didn't give him enough time Because I didn't know he was like a ghost or nothing like that. Well, maybe it was, but if I would have known, I would have been. But I think maybe I could have been there for him to talk to him a little bit. Maybe that would have made him go rest or something earlier. Like, I don't know. I think it's to think about it a lot. Like I think about it a lot. Like who our souls, man. Like I don't know. It's
or
repeating the same thing. Like I don't mind if I'm going to repeat the same thing after death, man. It better not be truck driving or work. It better be something else.
Or look at the flip side of this. It's something he loved to do.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he probably did. Yeah.
Who knows? And you were fortunate that you actually saw him.
Yeah, I did, and and that was a creepy situation that
very.
Hey, truckers, ever find yourself miles from home and running low on your daily meds? Don't worry, we've got your back. Meet Refill Genie, the telehealth service designed just for folks like us who are always on the move. Whether you're crossing state lines or hauling coast to coast, Refill Genie connects you with a licensed doctor to refill your existing prescriptions hassle-free. No more detours or long waits at the clinic. Just hop online and get your meds and keep on trucking. Use code HLL for a 15% off your order. So head over to refillgenie.com and keep your health in gear wherever the road takes you.
When they told me a week later about that, man, I felt my hair back in my head just stand up.
Right. That's like the fork in the road right there. Did you go left or do you go right?
Yeah. I took the wrong turn, man, but I got that truck out of there finally. But yeah, so Mike, if you're listening, man, it was me 30 years ago. I did that. I probably don't remember that was a long time. That was weird. So that was one of my creepiest things now. So I did that for many years, and now I'm going back. I'm back to the gravel business, and I'm hauling gravel and dirt and broken concrete and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And I'm happy where I'm at now, and I'm having a great time.
And no ghosts involved.
Now I have a nice truck and nice comfortable truck, and
nice.
I'm good now. Oh yeah, I'm a lot of fun there. It's just a good company I work for now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. That's the beauty about being in this industry for any length of time. You find your spot. You find a place where you feel happy and you're contented and you feel like you're doing all right. And I help the young drivers out a little bit as much as I can. I just want the first stop you're complaining, and I'll teach you whatever you need to learn. But the complaining part that needs to go, man. It's not gonna make your job easier, man. And you're just gonna. And I go, you got good trucks, and there's no reason to complain. Yeah.
To this 30 years ago, man, that was complaining time, and I didn't complain back then, and I was happy truck driving. Yep. Up here in California, truck drivers pay pretty good, so we make really good money out here doing what we do, and there's no reason to complain. You could go see these guys in the field, working in the fields, or picking heavy boxes all day long. I go, man, we're not doing none of that. So
that's some serious.
Complain no more.
Yeah,
that's some serious work right now. I can't do that now anymore.
Nope.
I'm getting too old for that. I can barely climb in and out of the truck without being back hurting. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I had another story from there that I was telling you from the company I work for now. Like I said, I'll bring my truck home, and the yard, the truck yard is like 25 minutes away from my house. But I'll take the truck home and I'll leave early in the morning and stop by the yard and fuel up. And our yard has one gate. You could come in and out of it. And everybody has their own code, so you could come in and out.
Okay.
So they keep track who goes in and out of the yard. And so if you go in there and the gate's open, that means somebody already got there before you, and you leave the gate open. And I got there and the gate was closed, so I knew I was the only one in there, or I was the first one in there for that morning. And people started showing up maybe like around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning because I had to go do a run down at the bay, and it was a couple hours, like 2 hours away. And so I get there, the gate was locked, and our yard is dark too. There's only one light by the fuel island. So the way you go in the yard, you go in there, you open the gate, you come in there, you have the office and the shop on your left hand side, and then you have a bunch of trucks on your right hand side, and then you have the fuel island in the middle. And so you drive in, you pull over to the right a little bit, and you jump on the fuel island. So that's what I did. So any trucks leaving there or coming in, they're gonna pass right by me. I have to see them.
Right.
So I get off and I fuel up, put my def on it, put my diesel. I'm fueling up, and done that. And I jump back in my truck and I go, start my paperwork. I'm still early, so I'm starting my paperwork for the day. So I'm sitting there, and then I heard one of my coworkers called me on the CB. And he goes, hey, because everybody calls me Coyote. That's my CB handle, Coyote. So everybody calls me, hey, Coyote, man, what are you doing here so early? And I said, well, I just came to get some fuel, and I'm going to the Bay right now. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, I'm going close. I'm going the same direction you're going, but not that far. He goes, so we'll go together. I'm like, okay. He goes, right. He goes, I'm warming up my truck right now, so I'll be there like in 5 minutes. Okay. So I sat there. 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes went by. He didn't show up. So I called him the CB. I go, where you at, man? In the way it is, that shop, like I said, the shop's in the left. Behind that shop, that's where we parked our trucks, our transfers and end dumps.
Okay.
And on the right hand side, we had all the bottom dumps. So he had to come from around the shop this way, and there's only one way out here across to me. And he never showed up. So I called him again. I go, hey, man, where you at? Nothing, quiet. So I waited another 5 minutes. And I go, man, I better go check on this guy, see nothing happened to him back there or fell or something. I'm going to go drive back there. So I turned my truck, and I went behind the shop. And I'm looking at his truck now. And his truck's lights are off. Everything's off. His personal car's not there. Nobody's there.
Wow.
And his truck's there. And the yard is dark. So I get back there, and I had my high beams looking straight at his truck. And so I couldn't see nothing. So I get off with the flashlight. I look between the trucks, nothing. I touched the hood of his truck, and it was cold still. I'm like, well, he hasn't been here. So I'm like, I wonder what happened. So I grabbed the cell phone, and I called him. It was like, at this time it was already like 3:30 in the morning. And I call him, and he answers like he just woke up. And I said, hey, man, where you at, man? He goes, I'm home. I go, no, man, you're not home. I go, I just talked to you like 15 minutes ago on the CB radio. Where you at, dude? Let's go. He goes, no, I'm home. I thought he was joking with me. Until I heard his wife yelling at me, like, who's calling you this early in the morning? Typical wife calling me, like, who's calling you this early in the morning? And then I knew that he was at home laying down with his wife.
Wow.
And he lives like 20 minutes away. So who did I speak to on that TV?
That's a great
story. Imagining yourself, did I hear that in my own head?
And it was loud. I don't know if you guys are familiar with CBs, but on CB you could tell how far the guy's from you or how close from you when they talk to you, right? And he was loud and clear, so like he was close to me, like he was there somewhere in the yard. Like you could tell the CB was that loud. And so I went up there, and it wasn't him. And it was him because he called me by my nickname, and I called him by his name. I called him by his nickname, Tobis. So I called him by his name, and we had like a 2-3 minute conversation back and forth. And it was him, all right. But he was not there. He was at home sleeping. And who did I talk to that day? I don't know. But I noticed when I jumped back in my truck, after I was on my truck, and I called him, and I'm sitting there staring at his truck, kind of confused. I'm like, man, this is weird, man. Like, I'm trying to find an explanation. Like, mine's trying to find, like, is he joking me? But how can he, like I had trying to find an explanation.
Sure.
What happened. And from that point, I didn't see nothing. Like, I was staring at his truck, my high beams around. I didn't see nothing there or nothing. But I had that weird gut feeling, like there was somebody sitting in his seat laughing at me, like a prankster. Like, I got you,
right?
I got you. I tricked you. And I kind of felt that feeling. And that yard, you have to drive slow in that yard and stuff, man. I drive a 10-speed truck. Man, I needed more extra gears to pump on that bad boy to get out of there. Man, by the time I left that yard, by the time to the front gate, man, I was in every damn gear trying to get out of there. I flew out like a bat out of hell, man.
Wow.
I
No,
never felt so. I'm like, man, this guy's gonna be sitting right next to me or something. I don't know. Nothing ever happened after. Nothing happened after that. But it's just that that fearness, just like it's creepy. And yeah, man, I think I left that yard like at least 50 miles an hour. You got to drive like 5 miles an hour in there. I got a dog, man. That was one of the creepiest things. So now I never go in there that early. And if I do,
I wouldn't either. No more.
if I do, my CB is off. I turn that bad boy off.
Yeah.
I turn it off, man.
Well, you know what they say, things happen in threes, so that's two guys you talk to.
One more, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I seen some other crazy stuff, like little things in there, like in my lifetime. But I think like that creepy stuff like that. Like I knew that was creepy. Those are probably the biggest ones that creepy stuff that I heard. I mean, we used to haul tomatoes. Going back and hauling tomatoes, I never seen nothing there. But there's this a famous place where a bunch of truck drivers, season after season, they would say they would see a little boy walk in the middle of nowhere. Or sometimes they'll see a little boy, or sometimes they'll see a lady, or sometimes they'll see them together. And it happened to truck drivers that didn't know the story, and like guys that knew the story, they would go out there, they wouldn't see anything. Like I went out there a couple of times to pick up a load of tomatoes out in the middle of nowhere, and I never saw nothing or heard anything.
Right. But
all these new guys, like these rookie guys, that would go in there, and they will say they will see this little boy, or walking, or a lady walking, and the dispatcher, he knew about that. So, they said that been happening for years, and they never knew who it was or whatever. And there was one case I still remember. I was talking to my wife about it the other day. There was this new guy that he goes to get a load of tomatoes, and the roads are narrow over there. On the country, they're kind of narrow.
Sure.
And he calls on that company radio to dispatcher. He says, "Hey man," it's late at night. He goes, "Hey man, there's this little boy in the middle of this road. He won't let me pass, and I need you to call the sheriffs or something, because we didn't have cell phones back then. So call the sheriffs or something, because there's no houses nearby or anything. I don't know what these little kids doing out here." And they're like, and the dispatcher like, "Hey man, just don't worry about it. Just go around them. Go around them, man." He won't do it. Well, what do you mean? I can't leave a little kid out here in the middle of nowhere. Call the sheriffs or something. And the dispatcher would need the story that this, little kid appears to truck drivers all the time for years.
Wow.
And he's like, "Man, just go around them. Leave it alone. I'll call somebody right now, but you just go do your job. Just leave them alone." He's saying this through the radio. We're all listening. And now that we know the story, we knew what's going on. And to finally, where he wouldn't let it go. And the dispatcher kind of irritated. And he says, "Hey, man, I don't want to tell you what's going on, but just go around them. Or if they doesn't want to move, just keep on creeping your truck forward. He'll eventually move on his own." "Oh, I can't do that. I'm going to run over this kid, man." He goes, "No, you're not. You're not going to hurt that kid. Just keep on trucking." Well, they went back and forth like that. Until finally the dispatcher says, "You know what, man? I don't want to tell you this, man, but you don't leave me a choice, man. What you're seeing there is not a live kid. That's a ghost. And we see it every year. So keep on going." And we're at 3 hours away, and these jobs, we're hauling tomatoes 3 hours away from our hometown. That guy loaded with tomatoes, left that place, got around the kid. I don't know what he did. He left there, and he drove those 3 hours to our yard, our hometown yard, parked the truck, loaded tomatoes, and quit. He didn't even bother taking that load to the cannery. He just went straight to the yard, took the whole load there, 3 hours away. Didn't even go to the cannery and dump that load off. He was that scared.
Wow.
And and a lot of people have seen it. And like I said, truck drivers, if we knew about it, if we go out there, you wouldn't see it. Like I went there like 2-3 times with other friends, obviously, and we never saw anything. But it only happened to guys that didn't know the story.
Isn't that
what happened to them? It was weird.
Wow.
I don't know how that happens. And I talked to some other friend, maybe 2 years ago, and they're saying it still happens to this day.
Wow.
When the health tomatoes out there.
So if you knew about it, it didn't happen to you. It sounds like the ghost want to play tricks on
It does.
people. Oh, these guys.
They know.
I want to get the newbie.
Yep.
It's the new guys, like the guys that don't know the story, they see it, or they see the boy or the lady. But guys that knew the story, you would never see it.
Isn't that crazy?
That is creepy. Like how would they know if you know or not? I don't know if it's the energy or what. It was creepy, man. And the stuff like that does exist, man. And I think we did the research on it, and there was an accident where I guess the mom and the kid got hit by a semi truck and passed away. You know, like 40 years ago or something like that. So they're still out there, man. That is kind of sad though. But that little boy likes to play tricks on the drivers. He does little things like that. Like there's other cases where the guy's hooking up his trailer at nighttime and they'll see the little kid running around the trailer. And there's no homes, nothing out there. And then by the time they go through the flashlight, they're gone. But they can see the corner of their eye, like the people just running around the trailers, and that's it. And I was playing tricks on truck drivers out there.
Wow. How do you keep hooking up when you see that? How do you?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't. It's just.
It's weird. Like, you know, I don't know. And there's a guy. He said he ran around the trailer because he said, well, a glimpse. Like, there you go. He didn't know about the story either. So he saw a little kid, and he would run. He saw a little kid, so he would run around the trailer trying to catch this kid.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter how fast he run, he could never catch up to it. And it just always the corner of his eyes.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy. The stories like that from truck drivers out there.
Dropping hook.
How about yes, sir?
Dropping hook, man. That's why I drop an end up. I don't have to drop and hook nothing anymore. I just say, you know, I don't hook trailers anymore, man. That's my old days.
Yeah.
But, so things like that, man. Especially like in the fields. There's just the middle of nowhere. This field, there's history back there. You didn't even know what's happening there before. And middle of the night, like I said, I was a night driver for many years, so I worked middle of the dark in the field. There's no lights, nothing out there, and it's pitch black, and you see things that are not meant to see, man. But there's creepy stuff, man.
Yep.
And I'm glad I don't work nights anymore after that, man. I'm getting too old. We have a heart attack now. I can't have these 40 get scared like that anymore. You know, man. Now the commuters now scare me the most now, man. The way they drive out there. Yeah, man. It's just like it's crazy. That's why I hear you guys' show all the time. You guys crack me up because everything you guys say, you guys go through at night and all this traffic and these dumb people on the road. And I'm like, oh man, it's like that everywhere. I guess I thought it was just California.
I was just going
to coast to coast idiots.
Yes, it
the
is.
only difference between the East Coast and West Coast is West Coast has 6 to 8 lanes of everybody together.
Yeah. Up here where I live, they made it was a 4-lane highway. They made it 2 more lanes, 6 lanes now.
Right.
Wow.
And we're like, oh, okay, good, 6 more lanes.
Yeah.
Traffic would be man. It's like you said. Now there's 6 lanes of traffic now. It's still packed. You know, you still can't get
parking lot.
Right.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, man. It's crazy out here, man. It's like I don't know where all these cars come from.
Yeah. And I have a friend of mine that flew out to LAX to go to the Peterson
Automotive Museum
out there, and then he flew over or drove over to Vegas and over there. And he said, if you get out on the road early enough, there's no traffic. But he said, you know, he'd done something, got out of the Peterson thing or whatever, and he said it took him literally 25 minutes to go like 2 miles. He said it was nothing but traffic.
What?
It just that's
the way it is now, and it's like that all day long. Like, don't people have jobs or don't people go to sleep or anything? Like, I don't know where it's always. It reminds me that you guys ever seen that movie with Jim Carrey? What was that movie called? I can't remember right now. Can't remember. It was the movie with Jim Carrey where he lives in a world where. He's the only one that doesn't live in that world. He's the only one that doesn't know.
Truman
Show. You know how they when he started finding out, then he'll go and see all this traffic around him. Yeah. I'm like, dude, are people doing that to me out here or what? Because everywhere I go, I'm just surrounded by cars.
Sometimes it does feel like
traffic everywhere I go. And it feels that way out here. It's just it doesn't matter what road you take or what shortcut you take or what route you take. It seems like it's just packed cars everywhere you go.
But what he was telling me was, and this is the difference between West Coast to East Coast, even the motorcycles are trying to get through. They actually get off their bikes and walk them, you know, in between the cars.
Really?
You know, here on the East Coast, they just fly right up the zipper. Yeah. You know, if they hit a mirror, they hit a mirror.
Yeah. They do that here too. well, motorcycles have to do that. They have to go through the lanes because they don't have a fan. They don't have a cooling fan in their motorcycle. So they overheat.
California lanes.
So they overheat. So they have to keep on moving to get that airflow and to keep the engine cool. Or else their motorcycles will overheat. So they don't have an engine fan. But
I'm like thinking to myself, this poor guy coming up on a bike, and we get somebody that decides he's going to change lanes. That's not going to be too good.
No. And everything is crazy, man. It's no room. It's too much traffic out here, and the guys fly by, and some guys, like you said, they have to even walk their bikes, man. It's just so
get there quicker.
They'll take like exit or something. It's so packed.
That just blew my mind. Walk their bikes.
That's crazy.
And then nowadays, when I'm going to shift lanes or something, I don't even put my signal light because my turn signal. Because it seems like every time I put your signal to switch lanes, it's like a green light for them to speed up.
All of a sudden,
that's New Jersey.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you want to get over? Okay, let me get in your way now. And they just.
They'll sit behind you for miles and miles and miles. The minute you put your turn signal on, now they want to ride right next to you.
Yeah, they're right next to you.
Upstate New York and Connecticut, they do that.
Yeah, so sometimes I just don't even put your signal light. Just screw it right over, man. Because if you put that signal light over, before in a couple seconds, they're going to be right there.
Just do what they do. Wait till you're halfway through the turn, then put the turn signal on.
And then what gets me, they're behind you, they speed up around you, go around you and doing everything, and then they get in front of you, and then they slow down.
Yeah.
And they get off the very next exit there.
Yeah, and to get off the very next exit, exactly. God, man, these guys it's crazy, man. It's like that everywhere, man. And it's getting worse, I think.
Yeah.
It's getting way worse. It's getting really worse, man. It's like, but that's why I'm getting closer to retirement, so I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Right.
Man. A couple more years, and I'm gonna be done with it.
I was gonna say, how close are you? Just a few years now.
I'm 50. I'm gonna be. Well, I got more than a few years, but I'm gonna be 52.
Okay.
In 2 days.
Oh,
3 days.
You're a youngster.
Okay, well, happy birthday a day or two early, dude.
I don't want to say the date. But I don't want.
You'll know because we don't give the date for the show, so
So I don't want to put a time frame on your show because I listen to your show a lot, so I don't want your son to be you get upset over that. You know what I mean? So you can tell how I'm a good listener to your show. I pay attention to that, so I don't want Jack man, to be upset over putting a time frame on your episode. So,
just leave it at 2 days.
I'll be 52 in 2 days or 3 days on the.
That's really cool.
I don't want to give a date or a month, because I don't want to go in that form. But
happy birthday a couple of days early. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, I'll be 52 in a couple days, so
that'll
be good. So I'm feel back. A year closer to retirement. Until they moved. Before it was like 62, then they moved it to 65. By the time I'm 67. Man, it's crazy.
It is, and it just keeps moving further away, and you're just like
further.
I got 16.5 years.
There we go. 16.
Yeah.
I say the government doesn't move the goalpost. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's why it's just you're building up that 401k so that you can just plan your own exit strategy.
Oh yeah.
For the government to say it.
Well, by the time you retire, it'll be a 101k.
If you're lucky.
But you guys are pretty young too. You guys are in your 50s, right?
Yeah,
they are.
He just hit 60. Shipper just hit 60. So.
Shipper, yeah. Shipper, man, you guys are great, man. I love you guys' show, man. Man, you just
appreciate it because
there's no. Look at me sometimes. You look like I'm crazy driving down the road, but I'm just laughing. I think your Tony show.
Don't like my humor.
Well, we really do.
No, I love your humor, man. Hey, don't change it. Keep it up, man. That what makes the show interesting, man. Because both of you guys combined, it just makes the show you guys just click so well together on your show. You guys, the balances out so well. I don't know. I like it.
I used to tell him before I was on the show a lot. I used to say,
I got a lot of my friends
around shooting the crap.
Yeah, I got a lot of my friends hooked to you guys' show now.
Hey,
you got to listen to these guys, man.
We need more.
Yeah, we brought in Johnny Kilowatt here because he drives a Tesla for those California people.
Yeah, a Tesla. Yeah, my neighbor has a Tesla. I see those cars. Those are nice cars, man. But
very nice.
Out in California, you must see them everywhere.
They're everywhere out here. They're
Yeah, there's
everywhere.
only one charging station out there.
Oh yeah, these things are everywhere.
It's the rolling brownouts,
Right. Do I go to the grocery with the car, or do I keep the air conditioning on in the house?
Yeah. But they're everywhere. People are. I was talking to somebody that lives in Texas. One of my buddies lives in Texas. He was talking about this the Tesla, one of those Tesla trucks, whatever they call it.
The cyber garbage can.
The cyber trucks. They're like, oh yeah, they're really rare. And I'm like, like when you see those, like, they're everywhere over here.
Yeah.
Those trucks are everywhere. They're not rare here. You see them everywhere out here, and they're not rare. I don't know why it is California. There's Teslas. They're everywhere over here.
You guys get a lot of incentives over there to go electric.
Yeah, California.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
The company I work for, they have a lot of trucks. My truck's a diesel, but they have a lot of trucks that are LNG trucks, and they get incentive where if you have like at least like 70% of your fleet are LNG, they could haul like, instead of 80,000 pounds, we have an 80,000 pound limit, here in California, and you could haul 82,000 pounds.
Right, because they got to account for the gas.
Yeah.
The EVs are like that too. They give you another couple thousand pounds.
A couple thousand. So if they're getting paid by tonnage, and that's where money adds up.
Yeah.
But I drove with those trucks before too. Those trucks, man, they're gutless, man. They don't move at all. They are slow.
I call them a giant forklift.
Yeah.
Yeah. They pretty much they are. They look nice, but man, they don't have no power at all.
They're
no
quiet too. If you ever hear them idling next to you, they're like they don't have that.
Yeah, they're quiet.
Clatter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're very, very quiet. They're very quiet and they're just slow, man. It's like I go, just keep a diesel around for me until another couple of years until I retire, and that's all I want.
That's it.
I want to shift gears and I want to smell that diesel every day.
Well, out there in California, what do they have with the mandate with the diesel? Because you have to be. Don't you have to have that goofy sticker on the side of your truck that says certified zero emission or something?
You gotta have that. You run your DEF, your different, whatever they call that, the DEF, the extra.
Right.
Put it in your trucks, and they have a sticker. You gotta wear all that. They're trying to get rid of all the diesels out here as well.
Right.
Eventually, that's
the problem. These East Coast guys won't go out west because they can't get into California with their older trucks.
Yeah, they can't because they're trying to get rid of that diesel stuff. But the diesel, I think if they get rid of it, it's a big mistake, man. How are you gonna haul this big old heavy loads diesels is just, man, it's a working truck, man. I don't know.
It is.
I don't. These other trucks, man. I don't know. Like, it feels like you're not driving a truck. If you're LNG trucks or manual trucks,
right?
It just doesn't seem right, man. I like this.
The EV trucks have the power, but they just don't have the range yet. There's just nothing but diesel is the only way to go to pull any
diesel. Yep, diesel is the only way to go. I think that's the only thing that gets the job done, man.
Right. What blew my mind was back when, what was it, like a month ago, they were having the port strike going on where they had the piers shut down. And they were shipping everybody out to California, empty off and, all your piers out there. I'm thinking to myself, they can empty the boats, but unless you have the certified trucks to drive into California, your containers are just going to still stack up over here in California.
Oh, yeah.
I'm over to Arizona. Drop off there.
There you are shuttling them out of California, and then anybody can pick them up.
Yeah. As I told you, it's these pencil pushers, man. These young guys that in office or wherever they're doing, writing these new laws and everything that they don't know nothing about a truck. Never been on a truck in their lives.
Yep. And amen.
And they're making all the rules and everything for us. They're making everything so hard. They're so hard. And you probably throw them in a truck, they probably don't even know how to turn it on. But they're experts on telling you how to do your job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yep. And what's the correct way or the safe way? Like, you don't know what the safe way is, but sometimes they make the jobs even harder, more dangerous.
They do.
You have these, you have everybody going 80, 90 miles an hour on the freeway, and you got to do 55. You're slowing traffic down, and you could cross a traffic jam, or if you go too slow, man, someone's doing 80 behind you, they switch lanes, and you're right there, they're going to plow right into you.
That's right.
Like in Nevada, you could go the speed limit, if the speed limit is posted at 65, you can go 65 or 70. California, doesn't matter what's posted, you can only do 55.
Yeah, kind of like Ohio.
Really?
Oh my God, that's awful.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
didn't know
moving
that
to
either.
California as a truck
Yeah.
driver. I'll retire.
California is 55, but we don't.
No.
Sammy Hagar said they had a song about that.
I think a safe zone for me, like I'll stay like 61, 62, and I'm okay. Like cops won't really mess with you there. Anything above that, then they'll start harassing you. But I used to say like 61, 62, and then I mean, I don't know, knock on wood, they haven't been bothered yet.
Right.
But but it's 55, man, and it's crazy. It's just you have cars that just passing you by at
That's if you
80,
get
90 miles an hour
out there.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're not sitting in
Well,
traffic.
that's true. I mean, that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, sitting in traffic, like
Wow.
there's some freeways, like this open space, but pretty much like in the town areas, you're just trucking traffic. You can't get away with nothing. Like in city limits, the city limits is just crazy. You can't move anywhere.
Right.
But and like who created that law of 55 miles an hour? Nevada. When I go to Nevada, next state over to us, like I said, you could go the speed limit there, and the traffic just moves so smooth.
Yep.
And here in California, just
you really become an obstacle on the road
you do.
for everybody.
You notice the guy passing lanes or whatever, and like I said, he's doing 80 miles an hour, and he switched lanes, and you're there at 55.
Yeah.
He's going to run into you.
Yep.
Yeah, and in California is too. It doesn't matter if they run into you; it's always the trucker's fault.
That's like that.
Always the
everywhere.
trucker's fault.
It is.
Yeah, your trucker's fault.
Yeah.
You should have stayed home.
You were
It wouldn't be
supposed to
your fault.
anticipate what he was thinking before you left.
Yes, you're supposed to know ahead of time.
Even if you're
Where's
parked
your-
in the stuff,
you know,
it's your fault.
You got to
it's always our fault, man.
8-ball inside your truck with you,
Right.
so you can shake
Yeah.
it and see what it says. Should I go around this guy
Unscrew
or not?
unscrew the road ranger gear shifter and put your 8-ball on
There you
there.
go.
Bang a gear. It's not likely.
There was this lady that ran into me it was like maybe I don't know 10 years ago or something like that. She ran into the back of my truck. Nothing happened to my truck. She hit my tires and destroyed her whole front end of her car. And I just had like a little paint scuff on my tire. That's it. Nothing happened to my truck. So I pulled over and she pulled over. She was driving too fast. So then the highway patrol comes over and everything, and she's getting off at her neck, her back. She's doing all this movement that she's she thinks she's probably seeing dollar signs, and her back. This obviously was hurting. She couldn't move. You need an ambulance? Well, I might need whatever. And then the police officer told her, well, this is your fault, because you were traveling too close.
Yeah.
And if you would have stayed your distance, you wouldn't have hit him. That was the magic words for her pain. Her pain was gone. Nothing hurt after that. She didn't complain or nothing. Walked straight ahead. Nothing complained.
Yeah.
And she was trying to get a free paycheck there, or something. But
Yes.
like, hey,
Sad but true.
close. Yeah, it's true. And her car was destroyed. I don't know if she was putting her makeup on. I don't know what she was doing, but she did something and she got too close and she learned her lesson. Nothing happened to my truck.
That's what people don't realize. You're not.
They don't realize that.
You're not
She
going
even
to
hit my tires. Nothing happened to my tires, and her car the whole front end was just caved in. And they don't know how dangerous these trucks are, how heavy they are, and
That's it.
until it's too late for them, and the way they drive, man, it's like, man, we have to watch out for them constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly.
You do, yeah.
And they don't watch out for themselves, man. Like, come on, man.
That's the sad part, is they're not even paying attention for themselves.
No, they're not.
For them, we have to anticipate. As a driver, as a professional driver, everything is on you. Everybody's looking at you and saying, well, it's all your fault. And the reason is because the trucking companies have the deep pockets.
Yep, that's what it is.
It goes down to.
Yeah.
It's a shame because it's made everybody irresponsible for themselves. They don't have to be responsible for themselves.
Exactly.
Somebody else will pay.
And most companies just say, all right, here's $100,000, go away.
Yeah,
they don't even want to go to court
to get rid of it, right?
But it's their fault or not.
And also blame like the DMV, Department of Transport, vehicles. When you check your driver license in California, your CDL, we gotta take like over 100 questions. You gotta take a physical. You gotta do all kinds of tests, and on your driving test. On a Class C, license, there's only maybe like 20 questions they ask, and that is it.
Yep.
And none of those questions are related to how you should act or be around big trucks.
Yeah,
I think they should take a separate test for that for class C license, driver license.
Yeah.
How to act or what to do or not do around a big truck.
And you only have to take your driving test one time when you're 16 years old, and then for the next 60, 70 years, you can be an a-hole on the road with no consequence.
Exactly.
We got to constantly learn stuff and get the
recertifications and everything else.
Exactly, recertification. We have to do our medical physical for our license every 2 years. Not as we take medication like high blood pressure, whatever. It's every year, but it's usually every 2 years. And Class C license, they don't have to take their physical, and they're probably not even good to drive and healthy enough to drive, and they don't take their physical. We have to take our physical all the time. Like you said, we have to learn different rules, different lanes. Then we got to do our test every 4 or 5 years.
Hazmat test and all.
Yeah, and your hazmat year every year. If you have hazmat in California, it's every year.
Oh, wow, every year.
Yeah, every year.
Wow.
For your hazmat, it's every year for your hazmat. And so and another thing too, if you get a speeding ticket or anything, there's no traffic school allowed for truck drivers in California. You can't go to traffic school to erase that point off your record or anything. Okay. And if you have a Class C license, you could get a ticket once a month and go to traffic school and clear it off. You're not eligible for traffic school. You get traffic, it stays on your record for 3-4 years, whatever it is, but you're not eligible for traffic school. So they won't let you do traffic school out here.
I imagine that's because they consider you a professional driver.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Your profession. If only they had that same rule for everybody else in their respective professions. If you're a financial guy and you embezzle money, you can't get that reduced. You're probably not gonna, because money.
I always said the people
not that I'm looking at you because of anything specific.
But the people who make up all the rules, like in the safety department and everything, put these cameras.
Yeah.
I want a little buzzer every time they make a keystroke on their keyboard wrong.
Right.
Or let's see if they do away with all these bells and whistles
every time they get up and walk away. Go take a pee break or whatever. You're not
paying attention. Yeah. Please mind your lane.
Yeah.
Mind your keys.
Yeah. It's true, man. It's true.
It is. Yeah. Why is it that way in this industry? Everybody who wants to be a boss, and I've noticed this in almost everywhere, no matter where it's at, if they're a supervisor or a boss, they've never driven a truck.
Nope, never.
Right. And they're working in the logistics company side of things, and they don't do one thing logical.
Yep. It's true, man.
It is.
That really, it shouldn't bother me that much, but that stuff does bother me. Like some guys, like I keep saying, guys that never been in a truck in their damn lives.
Yeah.
But they're teaching. They're telling you how to drive, how to do your job.
Right. Yep.
If they don't know, if they've never done it.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing this for 32 years. I think I know pretty much everything I need to know at this point. And these guys that never been in a truck before, and they're telling me how to do my job.
Yes.
How to do it the safe way.
It's like I said. Some of these supervisors, I have more miles backing up than they have driving since they got their driver's license.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. And they're sitting there behind a desk trying to tell you how to do your job safely.
Yes.
And if then I just am I the only one that sees that something wrong with that picture? That doesn't make
five
sense.
words. Yeah. Five words. Take a ride with me.
Yeah. And it's like every time I see stuff like that, it just drives me crazy. My wife, she's not a truck driver, and she understands. Her family, her dad, and her cousins, and everybody around her life are truck drivers. So is my family. So she's never driven a truck, but she's so cautious. When truck drivers, she's courtesy to truck drivers. If they want to jump the lane, she gives them the pass, or she does that with truck drivers because she's been around trucks her whole life. Like her husband, and her dad, and her cousins and stuff. So when you see her driving the freeway, she's courteous to truck drivers, and I tell her, you got to do that. Yeah, because they're tired. They want to get their job done, and and they're dangerous. They can't stop like the way you guys will stop
That's right.
in a car. And I go, they're dangerous. And I go, you have my daughters in a truck, in a car, that thing gets a hold of you, man. It's not going to let you go.
Right.
There's going to be some damage done.
Yeah.
So she's really good at being around trucks. I don't hang around the trucks. Pass them, movie thing. Make sure you're there. Don't try to come up on and surprise them, because there's a lot of blind spots. They can't see. We can't see where you're coming from. And if you hang in that blind spot for a long time, we know if someone, we can see in the mirror someone's coming. They might get on a blind side, but we know they're going to exit our blind side eventually.
That's right.
But if you just go in there and just hang there, we can't see you. We don't know if you exited or you didn't.
Yeah.
You're there.
You change lanes, one lane over. Did you? Yeah. What did you do?
We don't know. I go, so don't hang around the truck, man.
Yep.
I don't know. It's in the summertime. I've seen some guys, like in the summertime when it's the sun's beating high. I see some of these little 4-wheelers. They'll get next to me where my truck's making shade for them, and they'll just ride it next to me.
And sit there.
Like you know how dangerous that is.
Yep.
That is
Exactly.
super dangerous, man.
Oh,
Like,
taking the
dude,
tire going boom and
are you worried about a little sunburn there? I go, little sunburn, it's nothing's going to happen if this truck gets a hold of you, They could rear off to a little bit, come under my axles, my drag axle grabs them.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. They're done.
Or a tire blows.
Yeah, or tire blows.
Those things.
That's it.
I'm going off. Those things throw shrapnel everywhere.
Oh, yeah, this thing break windshields, tear up cars. It tears up our fenders on our trucks. Imagine if it hits one of those, aluminum cars.
Exactly.
They're dangerous.
They're very dangerous.
And motorcycles do that too. They'll come up behind you, and then they'll get that wind tunnel action. Then they'll get around you and they speed up.
Yeah.
And I've seen some terrible accidents where the back axle grabs them. There's nothing left afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dangerous, man.
Yeah.
And they don't. Yeah. You see it time and time again, and people just don't. I think, and I go back to I blame it on DMV. They don't get educated. They need to be educated on that stuff.
Yes.
Like, we're educated of what to do, what not to do.
Right.
These guys are not educated for the danger of these trucks.
Yep. And we can only share that information with so many people. I mean, we only have so many people in our lives, and we try and we share that with our wives, our kids. We teach them how to drive and that type of stuff. But how I can't share it with everybody around me.
Yeah, exactly.
3.5 million truck drivers in the United States, and there's 340 million people. I mean, I have to know a lot of people in order to share it with.
Yeah. But and it's not our job to share. It's not our job to train these people how to be around this. And I think that's the government that makes the rules for us. They should make the rules for them and teach them. And and teach them how it is. And I think that would make a big difference.
I honestly think the driving course should be a two-part test. One should be a classroom, a simulator, and the other should be on the road. Yep. And in the simulator, you can have them come up on a truck on the side of them and a tire blow out on a truck and see what they're going to do. Yeah. I mean, nobody's injured at that point in the game, but I'm sure you'd. It might be scaring the crap out of somebody there because again, but it does happen.
But it happens.
Oh yeah, Shipper. That's a good thing. That's something that somebody should look into and have that done. We do have that actually.
Right, Shipper for president.
Yeah. I agree with you, Shipper. I think somebody should get that ball rolling there because I agree that the technology's out there. That is.
I mean, they're sitting at home playing the Xbox now.
Yeah, they have it, and they sell the little steering wheel, the little brake, they sell all that stuff. And now, like, I'm a gamer as well. I'm a gamer as well. I play Call of Duty. Right. Shout out to my clan, Shattered Image. I just want to throw that out there, my clan. But I'm a gamer as well, and I'm the clan leader in the game I play. And like you said, these things that the steering wheel, stuff like that, like your controllers and your headset that we wear. Like you see behind me, I have my gaming monitor back there. But these the controllers in your head monitor, they vibrate and they in the ring a certain area. Depends if you're getting shot from your right hand side, or like you could hear it vibrating or ring from your right ear, and then your controller vibrates when you blow something up or whatever. So they could do the same thing with like the steering wheels itself for driving the cars. And teach people how to drive. So if they get hit, they could feel the steering wheel shake, or make now, or put the headset where they can know where the damage is coming from. If they could do that, they could have these train these people, like, you got too close to a truck and vibrating.
Yeah, I think that was
real
very-
world, you probably would have been seriously hurt, injured, or even worse. Fatal accident there.
They
Yeah.
need a
So I
safe.
think it's a good idea.
I was in a virtual truck
I was in a
accident.
virtual truck.
Then there's
Yeah.
virtual Hugh Cheatham and Howe attorney offices. We got a virtual court.
Yeah. But that's a good way to at least to teach them because you're not going to get them in a real truck or nothing. To show them like
Yeah.
that's
you
what's going to
want
happen.
to roll that dice? You want to you want to dance?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're only going to
Oh,
get one shot at it.
Yes.
Yeah, one shot at it, and that's it, and that could be your last one, man. So
Right.
it's true, and that's a good thing you brought that. Is super. I think that with your guys' podcast, I think hopefully somebody will listen, and some of those pencil pushers will push that, and I think it will be a good thing for everybody else. It has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you have enough people saying that, the right person will listen to it, and it'll
maybe.
make it happen.
It would be nice.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
Like us, we're getting older. We're going to be out of the game soon, but these new truck drivers nowadays, so it make their life a little bit easier. More easier than they already have it,
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
they air ride seats and everything, so maybe a little bit easier for them. But it would be nice to leave this world, leave it in a better place now than I got it. Or the industry, leave it in a better place than I inherited it to the old guys that were trying
And the thing that it really should be the driving force behind that is that we live in 2024.
Yeah.
This is not 1924. We literally have the technology to do these things. We literally can do this stuff.
Yep.
Don't. It's like, why? Why are we?
It costs money.
Yeah, but I'd rather. Which is cheaper? You know what I mean? Like to take care of this,
Really-
or
it
for
doesn't-
companies to keep dumping money out
It doesn't
and
matter.
insure. It
Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. As long as they go on Amazon and they hit what they want and they order it and it's delivered on Prime the next day, they
It
really
is
don't
delivered on
care.
Prime the next
They don't
day.
care how it got from A to B.
No, they don't.
And how many trucks it had to be in.
But it's not-
just
it-
that
the-
it's there,
the
and
problem is-
they're calling if it's not delivered at 3:02 a.m.
It's not a question of
Or
whether
PM.
they care. It's whether or not the government says this is from now on. This is how we're teaching people to drive cars.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be part of the required stuff you got to do to drive.
They're just waiting for
It's
everything to
really-
become a
it's
Required reading.
It's the only way it's ever going to happen. Is if the government comes along and says this is the way it has. We have got to teach people how to drive around these big trucks. We cannot just rely on big trucks to be responsible to try and figure out what people are going to do.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened in my accident. Was how am I supposed to know this guy wants to be in the right hand lane and turn left across in front of me? How am I supposed to know he's going to do that?
Yeah.
I'm not clairvoyant. I'm this is not the your friend's network where you're calling to get what's the guy in front of you going to
Psychic
do?
Friends
the
Network.
Psychic Friends Network. That's the thank you, sir. I don't know Dionne Warwick, so
or Cleo.
or Cleo, Miss Cleo. That's the thing is that these are things that in 2024 should be no brainers, and we should be able to handle this stuff, and we don't.
Yep.
Common sense ain't real common.
It's not.
sense.
But even the technologies are here.
Yep.
It's like I say, with our own safety meetings at work. It's like, why am I coming in early for a safety meeting that could be recorded and put on a video every month, and I can watch it at my leisure, and I don't have to lose sleep.
Or you can watch it while you're waiting at your relay.
Or I can watch it in the middle of the night while I'm waiting at a relay or at a terminal waiting for freight, whatever it is. Why do we not use modern technology? I mean, we're using enough modern technology nowadays where we're actually looking at having tractor trailers that don't have drivers. We're willing to do that, but we're not willing to do the things that are really within the ability. Where it's not like you need to work this out and figure it out how to do it. We know how to do it.
Yep.
People to vote.
It's just getting people to just step up, and it's getting the government to get out of its own way. And you get anyway. That's my.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
I agree with you 100%. I agree with I agree with that, exactly everything you said, and I agreed. I heard your shows before where that it's just going to take these trucks with all these cameras on it that will no driver in them.
Yep.
They're not gonna. They might work for a little bit, but
At some point.
It's gonna be. It's gonna. Some people are gonna get really hurt, really bad.
Well, it's not. You can't do it in cars. Like we mentioned before. I own a Tesla right now. They're doing full self-driving. It's crap out of me, and it's a car. How are you gonna get 18-wheeler, 80,000 pounds to do that? And if there's a solar flare, they lose cellular or connection to the truck. Now what does it do?
What's it gonna do? It's gonna plow in somebody's gonna wipe out families, man. It's gonna wipe out people. It's not gonna.
You have to drive around them on the interstate.
There's no way that's gonna happen in my lifetime.
How is this computers or these cameras, whatever? How are they gonna detect? Like, you guys are truck drivers. You guys know the truck drives different when you're empty and when you're loaded or the weather condition. We drive the truck accordingly, the weather and our weight we have on our truck.
Yes.
So these computer stuff driving these trucks, whether it's cameras or whatever,
I think they can get
programmed by weight or condition or whatever.
Yeah, I think
how is he going to know exactly? Like, okay, it's icy or it's raining, and I got 20,000 pounds, or I'm empty, or I got some load in the back or in the front, or because the truck drives different.
Yep.
When it depends the weight you have on.
And how the computer can get around all that. What they can't get around is all the other idiots on the road.
Yeah,
right?
they can't
exactly.
You can't read their mind.
If the computer can't predict what the other a-hole's doing, how do they expect us as drivers to predict what the other a-hole is doing?
And the thing is, human beings are unpredictable.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's too many variables.
If every car was autonomous and they could talk to each other,
and
it would probably work fine.
If they were all autonomous and there was no self-driving, no people driving themselves, but all vehicles were then you can, because they would know what each other's doing.
Yeah, and then we would have flying cars by now because we'd be doing, George Jetsons.
Yes. The Jetsons, yeah. But what would happen if, like you said, Brian, what would happen if there's a malfunction that it loses signal?
Yes.
Then what?
Exactly. Yep.
That screwed. Doesn't happen.
I know. No.
So and then you're gonna have,
we still get
100 cars just.
We can't
going
get service on 80.
Exactly. And the thing is that really what we have right now is we have Jetsons technology and Flintstones mindset.
Right.
That's exactly. That's where we are in the world we're living in,
Yeah.
Because everybody's out for themselves. We can do all this cool stuff, but nobody knows how to use it.
All these 22-year-old truck drivers are going, Flintstones, Jetsons.
What's Flintstones? Yeah.
What is it?
Google them.
What is that?
I'm just waiting for, Freddie Jones to step up and pull the mask off and say, look, Scooby, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh. Now there we go, another 1969 reference.
Google up Cartoon Network.
Exactly.
Hey, who's going to empty out or load or empty out these trucks?
Exactly.
Self-driving.
Exactly. Who's going to deliver?
Who's going to do that?
Yep. Who's going to do the P&D deliveries? Exactly.
Yeah. Who's going to be doing that?
That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
That would be nice to see. Well, who's going to do that?
That'll be well after my time.
Yeah. Mine too, man, it's like somebody has to unload that ship, that your cargo off or whatever, or get it loaded.
I literally just read an article about this company Aurora out in Pittsburgh that's making these autonomous that's trying to get these autonomous trucks. They pushed it off now for another year, 2025,
because they
can't. They're having a problem with it. So
yeah. And I saw one of the truck stops out here. I saw a truck that had 50 cameras all the way around it.
Right.
And it was parked, but I'm assuming it was one of those trucks that drives for themselves.
I would imagine.
Right. And I'm like, I better get out of here before it starts moving on its own, man. I don't want to be in there. Man. I don't want to be in there. Imagine that car just starts.
Microwave, the truck starts driving.
You know what? Maybe that time when I heard that my friend's voice that's calling me the CB, maybe it was maybe one of those trucks out there.
Exactly.
Doing his own talking on the CB. That was the early technology, man. They didn't tell me about it, man.
That's there.
But imagine how creepy that is if you're parked right next to those trucks and it just starts moving by itself.
Exactly.
Even though that's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
Because the camera and stuff, but just the sight of it is kind of creepy.
It is. When you don't see a person sitting behind that wheel.
Yeah.
Weird.
That is kind of creepy, I think.
Yep.
I've never seen a Tesla.
That's what we called ghost riding.
Well, I see videos of Teslas, parking themselves and stuff like that on parking lots and stuff like that. And that looks kind of creepy a little bit. But imagine a 80,000 pound vehicle going 60, 55 miles an hour on the freeway next to you that has no passenger in it. I mean, no driver in it.
That's the scary thing.
That's scary, man.
That weighs 80,000 pounds going down the road without anybody there to intervene if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
You lose connection. You know?
If something malfunctions, who's going to stop that thing?
Exactly.
You know, that's a scary thought.
It is.
Especially if my family's like half a mile ahead of that truck.
Yep.
And their own personal car.
Yeah.
Knowing my daughters and my wife are in that freeway or loved ones.
Yes.
That's why it'll never happen. No senator or congressman is going to sign off on that, knowing that they're going to come back to them. The first school bus full of kids it kills, they're going to come back and say, "Why did you approve this?"
And you'll never vote it into office again.
No
and
one.
You know, and I hate to say this, but that's what's going to take to stop that nonsense. That's the only thing that's going to stop it. And I hope it doesn't get to that point, but that's the only thing that it's going to take for these guys to really open their eyes and stop playing with people's lives like that.
Yeah,
because that's what's going to happen.
Or the other option B would be one of those driverless vehicles just drives through Washington, D.C. Just drive it right through.
Sort of. Yeah. You mean crashes through Washington, D.C.
Capitol, whatever. Well, just driving through.
Yep,
I got a delivery at the mall. The National Mall, it says.
Yes, sir. Emilio, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on. And hang on after we sign off. Just hang on with us for a few seconds.
Okay.
We can, chit chat for a few minutes. But we just want to say thank you so much for coming on. We had a blast.
Yeah,
with you.
Well, thank you guys for having me. You guys are awesome. Like, I love you guys' show.
And there's one person in California who likes me.
Hey, I love you. I love you, Shipper, man. You're great, man. I love all you guys. You guys are great, man. I look forward every week to listening to you guys. You guys just like, you got the same mindset like I do. Like, we think of like a bunch of all this stuff. The truck driver stuff is always. Yeah. And I love listening to you guys. I love listening to your son Tony's podcast. I listen to him all the time too. Yeah. And he's a great guy. And I'm into cryptids and all that conspiracies myself. So I love all that stuff too. But yeah, you guys keep doing an awesome job. Keep it up, man. And I hope you guys continue for a long time. It's just, I think you guys put light, even though we joke around and everything, but there's a lot of things that are really important and that's going on right now that you guys, we touched on that, and that hopefully somebody opens somebody's eyes on that and see it, because I think it's very important. And I think you guys are the platforms to do that, and eventually somebody's going to listen, and I hope so. And I think you guys are doing a great job for that, and you guys keep it up, man. And like I said, thanks for having me. You guys are awesome, and everybody over here loves you, Chipper, so don't worry about that. So you're good, man. And I think that you brought, like a lot.
East Coast, West Coast thing.
You guys are great, man.
East Coast, maybe goes out and go to the West Coast now.
Yeah. You guys are great, man. And hopefully I'll get to meet you guys someday, man. And
that'd be awesome, dude.
And have a coffee or something with you guys. You guys are awesome, man. You just
awesome.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate that.
We really appreciate it.
And I'll talk to you guys later there. But I'll stick around.
All right. Well,
with that,
we hope everybody enjoyed the show. We enjoyed ourselves. We know Emilio enjoyed himself. We hope everybody else has enjoyed this show. And if they enjoyed the show, Mike, what can they do?
Share the show.
Share it.
Share the show with their fellow California raisins.
Hey, that's fantastic. Share the show. Well, with all that being said,
keep the hammer down and hammer laying.
Amen. Good night.
Amen. Good night.